advertisement.
I wish it was a sponsorship, but
keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
keep putting it in videos, and maybe eventually we'll get something.
keep tagging them.
Yeah, just keep bothering them.
It's awesome. I guess you watched all that last night.
Yeah. Yeah, I got off of work and I came home, and I just saw it and I was like, wow, that's great.
This morning I watched what's the what's his name?
Quarterback
kid. Yeah, his little. That was so sweet.
Yeah.
Teary, emotional.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Hoping the best for him, but see what comes next.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hopefully something great.
Well, yep.
I'll give you a cheers.
Okay.
That way I'll have a good starting point.
All right.
Yeah. So Miss Brown, first, congratulations on a new grandchild.
Yes, exciting.
How's that been over the past month?
Oh, it's very exciting. She's pretty sweet. It was
Yeah.
a good little fast delivery, and
Good.
grandbaby number 12, and she's just sailed right in and joined that little family. So
Popped on in. She got to experience Christmas right before.
yes,
So,
she did.
She got
It's
in
awesome.
right on time.
That's right.
What's that now? 12 grandkids. What's that like having? Imagine it was very interesting times.
It's wild.
I bet Christmas is very
wild.
fun.
It's loud. It's wild. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
I bet so. I bet it brings a lot of Christmas spirit to the mix.
Yes.
Imagine there's a Santa Claus that visits.
Well, kind of. None of them really celebrate Santa Claus, so they just talk about it being a fun part of Christmas.
Okay.
So
that's nice. Is it more like, is that from y'all, or is that kind of them?
Yeah, that's kind of how we did it too. It was just a fun part of Christmas, but we didn't really have a big focus on Santa was real.
Oh, okay.
Or not. So, but you don't want to spoil it for people who do believe that.
Wherever Santa may fall.
That's right.
Respectful.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't know that was such a. It's a nice way of viewing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. And so now y'all have that. Y'all do anything for New Year's, or is that kind of like the last?
We used to do a big party every New Year's, and then I just got a little older, and I didn't want to stay up really late. So Abby she does that now, and then some of us will get together, and but not quite the same as Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Those are two, I imagine.
Yeah. And it's late for kids. Like we would always do a 9:30 New Year's.
Yeah.
We'd do fireworks and stuff then, so it wasn't so late.
Something nice about that.
Yes.
Get to go to sleep early.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't mind the 10 o'clock.
Do you like staying up till midnight these days?
Not really. Not when you're working at 5.
There you go. That's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it a lot more.
You grow up and you realize you can't run that pace anymore after.
No, it's 10 o'clock. Very much want to be in bed.
Yep.
So how's co-op? Let's just what you do now. What is it? What are you doing now with it?
What is co-op?
What is it?
That is a great question. So I know a lot of people don't really know, or kids will talk about, I go to this co-op, and nobody really knows what it is. So just to go back with a little history there, I didn't know what it was either. And when it started in 1997, I had just finished teaching. I always and forever wanted to be a teacher. And I was teaching in Georgia at the time. And
what level were you? Did you start out?
Elementary.
Is that where you wanted to kind of start out?
Early childhood, elementary.
All right.
That's my focus. So I just knew that I didn't want to send Abby to school, and then Philip came really fast, and then Adam came really fast. They were all boom, 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 those first ones. And I didn't really know much about homeschooling. I just knew that I enjoyed being with my kids, and I didn't want to send them away. Yeah. So we were dirt poor, and I was determined this doesn't matter what we have to do. I want to be able to stay home.
Yeah.
So when Abby, the year she turned 4, and so the older ones were 4, 3, and 2, I started having people over once a week. And we studied science and history. There were 19 kids, 5 families. And one of us kept the babies in one part of the house. The other one had the younger little ones in one. And we just kind of rotated and did these fun subjects. And by the end of that year, I had all these friends. I wondered, what are you doing? Can I come join in? And it very quickly...
It kind of just spread to more.
Outgrew. So we went to a church. We were going to Mitchell Road at the time and asked if we could use some space. And we had 85, 90 kids. Boom.
So you went from 19 the first year you kind of started putting it on to 85.
Boom. Just boom.
Bang. Right away. Was that your intention? No.
I have said over the years, I feel like I have held onto the rope that God has thrown me, and I've just gone wherever it is that He's pulled me. Because I really used to think that I was going to probably get them to maybe middle school, and then I would try to go teach at a private school wherever they were. And that was not what God had in mind. So every year, more and more people, and we grew from church to church. You can use this space, and now we've got to find somewhere that can hold this many kids. And so then 6 years in, we started in high school. But at that time, nobody knew what a co-op was. Homeschooling was legal. In all states across the nation, but there weren't really co-ops.
Can you explain the difference of co-op versus homeschool? Like, what is there?
So these kids are all legally homeschooled in the state of South Carolina, and they come 1 or 2 days a week to take certain courses. And our mission was the same when we incorporated a couple of years after that. That mission has not changed. So they still have to be legally homeschooled, and you could come in and say, I'm really good in science and math, but I need help with humanities. I want to purchase this course, if you will. So they would come in and take a course. They may take 5 courses. And then they're doing other things at home. But some of them, even to this day, only take 1. Very few. Most of them take a lot more.
So it's more of like a college kind of catalog of where
very much.
Okay.
Very much a college type mentality.
It's like the homeschool idea of like the other 3 days you're homeschool. Yes.
And depending on what course, it could be that you've got assignments that you're working on. Most of them are. 5th grade and down, it's a little bit different. They're there the whole day. They don't come and go. But after that, they can. But most of them want to be there the full 2 days. And
so the first year, is it like an accreditation process? Is it a like LLC? Is it a?
We're actually a nonprofit. We got that status in. So we started in '97, incorporated very soon after that, and got nonprofit status in 2003, which took a while because nobody across the nation the IRS didn't know what we were. What is this? It's this educational entity, but it wasn't a school. And I've had people over the years, don't you want to be a charter? Don't you want to get accredited? And I really don't. I like having the freedom that we can
do what you want.
We can do what we want. We can make it work for families. What drives me with it is I'm very passionate about helping parents make educational choices work for their kids. And I don't want to be bound by what somebody else is telling me. I want to be able to shift and flow with that and stay within that mission. But serve families that way.
So I like that answer. I very much keep it independent and kind of to what you want the mission to be, and not having to kind of conform it. So with that, then, do you have did you create a syllabus or some sort of idea of how to progress? Because I know the first year you obviously didn't see what it was going to become.
No, did not.
But between the first year and that second year, I'm guessing you probably were this might go a little bit further than I thought.
Right. But not where it is now. I didn't call that one. No. Did not call that one. No. Really what we were trying to do is find courses and subjects that were maybe better suited to do with a group, or more than just if you only had a 4th grader or if you only had a 2nd grader. My family was a little bit different because I had a batch of children in there. So there were a lot of things we could do together. But usually, math and teaching a child to read, I still to this day think very much need to be individualized. We don't do that in our elementary courses, even to this day. Because what we don't want is for a parent to say, oh, you're teaching them to read and I don't have to really dig in and do that on those other days.
Mm-hmm.
But we're offering for elementary like art and science and history and all those kind of subjects.
Yeah.
Early for intro to foreign languages, just different types of subjects that really, if you've ever worked with children, you know that 5-year-olds, you've got a child who's way ahead in math, but they're really struggling over here with their reading. And but if you're talking about history, you can kind of level that out. That's some of the stuff that's broken in classrooms. When you try to put 35 children in a room and expect them all to be second grade on the same kind of level.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And teachers know that, but the system can't figure out how to adjust to that.
Yeah, I'd say that's more the problem of. I think all the teachers in public school know that it's not a.
Yes.
That it is very much a what do you do with it type of situation.
Their hands are tied to a lot of things that they know is best and how they love to work with children, but their hands are tied.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. We've had a couple friends that were teachers, and it's just kind of like frustrating in a sense of you going there out of school and it's like, I'm excited to go take on this and be able to help, but then it's it's you get hit in the face with 40 kids in a classroom and it's like, well, I can't do any this is extremely challenging.
Yes.
I know. Fighting very uphill.
That's exactly what it is. It is the system that's broken. It's not teachers. I mean, people get into education obviously not for the money, but they're passionate about helping children, and their hands are tied. Yeah.
Did you have that idea that you wanted? This was like your passion going in like forever, or was it just kind of like you get to college and it was like figure it out?
Since I was this big.
You wanted to be.
I used to line up all of my stuffed animals and teach them school. Yes, It's always.
So it was always.
That
you're going to go down this path.
Yep.
Okay. That's
Yep. I had my own summer camps in the summer when I was in high school, and people would pay to come to them. It's always and a lot of people don't. You think, oh, I know what I'm going to be. That's actually kind of rare.
Yeah, I would say extremely. I would say it falls very much into the rare column that it's you go from tiny to you're actually making life choices.
I've never veered off of it. Never, which is again unusual.
Yeah, I mean it's worked out incredibly well. Yeah. So it was always motivation for that. And then in Georgia, where you started teaching, did you do that for a couple years or?
So I graduated from Furman, got my degrees from Furman, and then I went to taught in Atlanta, inner city.
Why?
Yeah, well, it was a guy that I was interested in, not my husband, but a guy at that point. So I went there to teach, and then that ended up not working out, and then met Rex, and so then we ended up in Augusta, Georgia, stayed in Georgia, and I taught inner city there also. I was actually out in a portable with no telephone, no way to talk in between two projects, and I would have to send my assistant out to see if there was gunfire going on between the two before we could even send them out to recess that day. So, that was a
fun place to get started.
That was awesome.
That's quite unique. Where'd you meet Rex at?
We actually met at church. Okay. After I got out of that relationship, I had some friends that were going to this church, and we met there, and it was kind of fast track.
Hit it off and kept moving.
Yep.
Wow. So you go from Furman to the A. All right. So you had a major.
I'm so glad that we're not in Atlanta. It's glad we can stay there.
So between like 22 and 25, you had quite a life experience hitting you, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And so when did you have Abby? What was it?
So she was 91. So we got married in 89, and then got married. We got engaged in May, and we really hadn't known each other that long, and so we were going to kind of wait a little bit. Well, he walked into his work the next Monday after we got engaged, and they said, "What do you think about Augusta?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, we need you to move there, like, now."
Yeah.
So it was either do this long distance thing and keep up two, households, or get married. So we got married in August, and I started school.
Yeah.
4 days later, we had a very short honeymoon.
Yeah, that's nice. So you got your teaching experience, met Rex, and then you start co-op. And when you're going through, like, in the kind of after the first couple of years, are you looking to bring people in, or how quickly were you like, I need to find employees or people?
Yeah. So in the very, very early years, we bartered, if you will, and very quickly, once we got a CPA and we're trying to, they were like, you can't do it this way. We outgrew that in a year and a half. So at that point, we were, I really went and kind of handpicked a board. I wanted people who had different strengths than I did. I don't need people who can do the same thing I can do. I needed different people with, different loves and passions and all. And then at that point, we had employees, and that's the point we were incorporating and getting our nonprofit. So that happened pretty quickly.
What was picking the board like? What was that process?
I've actually got one who's on there, who's been on there from the beginning. I just went to people and
schools or any,
friends, really, the people that I knew that again had different I needed some finance people, because that's not my world. So that was really the first the first kind of group that I went for. And now there's again, just people with different strengths, but it's not a hands-on day-to-day board. My staff does that. It's never really been that.
When did you get the first staff?
Well, we started hiring. I started hiring pretty immediate after we can't. Well, still, I was even hiring, if you will. Even before we were paying, when we were kind of trading services. But again, that didn't last. But it was less than 2 years. So I was looking for people who were not necessarily certified teachers, but were people who were specialists and had really strong gifts in their expertise. So if you had a love of science, and maybe you did work in a science field, but now in those early years, it was a lot of people who wanted to stay home with their kids, or I had some people who we did a whole carpentry class, and some retired guys who just loved doing that kind of stuff, and they would come in and teach. We don't really do carpentry anymore. I wish we did, but
I'm sure someone will find. There's probably somewhere out there.
We could do it. We teach almost over 300 different classes now. So, which is really hard, but it's K3 through 12 now, which is also a whole beast in and of itself. Just that whole, most schools, if you will, are elementary or middle or high, but this is the whole thing.
The whole block is right.
And that was kind of one of my founding. I wanted it to be for the whole family, so that if you're a mom, you're not. And at that point, we tried to all be on one campus, and we were until probably 4 years ago. And then it just exploded, and we just couldn't fit. But what I wanted was, if you're the mom you're going somewhere for art and somewhere for music and somewhere for all these extra activities, but we wanted it to be better for mothers who were trying to manage their families and meet the needs of their kids. But now, so we went from that little bit to now I have 179 employees.
Quite a difference.
It's a very big difference. So.
Well, I bet that. The system also set up for. At that time, imagine your family was growing as well, and so eventually you got to where you probably didn't need the K through 12.
Yes,
I think.
It did. It grew. High school started right before Abby. She was like the second group going into that high school, and we grew it as we had students, that had that need. And then we've never looked back on high school, and that's a huge draw. We still have wait lists for every single grade, but.
How many can y'all have in a class, or is it a class, or is it just like in general? Yeah,
in each class, I only put 18 in each class.
Okay, so it's a class limit.
Smaller. And then the younger classes, some only have 12, some have 14, some have 16. It just depends on the age. So the younger, the smaller number is in there. But none of them are bigger than 18, just because.
I think that's the magic number. Okay. That does make.
You get to 19, and I've said ever since I was teaching school, when you get to 19, and that 19th child seems to multiply, and it just, and no matter how gifted you are, you just cannot meet the needs of that many children. You just can't.
No, I don't disagree. I've been in very different class sizes myself.
Yeah, you probably had really big sizes at Clemson.
Yeah, at Clemson we had big sizes. At TR I had different sizes. At GMC I had different sizes. So it's been very much, I've seen spectrum of kind of the sizes and what the capabilities are kind of in that room.
Right.
And there is something about when you get kind of in that 20 plus, it does become I guess 18 plus in your case. It just becomes a little bit more chaotic. And
it's not just the dynamic between the instructor and the students, it's students to students. You think about the way you could engage and interact in a class that had fewer students. People are just more comfortable. And 18 is kind of pushing it. Depends on if it's the right 18 or a hard 18.
Yeah, I mean.
But all of that changes also.
Yeah, you can see that very. Well, I imagine with y'all having 18, there's probably 10 of those kids that know each other, or something. I would say a mix of them have been in a class. And I think there's a lot to that. I think the comfortability part is the big thing that I would say, as you don't really want to talk or raise or be wrong in front of 20 people,
That's what I mean by the dynamics, You're not vulnerable.
Yeah, it's very much less vulnerable than having, the smaller number and the more kind of close knit almost. It's, it's less burden to be wrong in front of people you actually know, more willing to take a chance and actually learn, I guess. You're actually going to learn when you're participating.
Right. It's also hard, the dynamic changes if it's, I would say, 4 and under. That changes it too. So there's kind of a sweet spot in there, 5-ish. Again, you've got enough people to talk with and share, and so it's not awkward. So it's just interesting. Yeah,
I could see that. Get too few people and there's not enough participation. Then it's just talking to myself.
Right.
Yeah. So with that, talk to Philip.
Yes.
Making his decision to move him from the co-op to high school. What was that from y'all's perspective? Because you did it he was the first.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things that were playing into that. Number one, at that point, South Carolina did not have equal access, which some people call the Tim Tebow law. So that whereas you could be homeschooled and still participate in your public schools sports.
Okay.
So all homeschool families are still paying tax money that goes to the schools.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where states who started with that equal access, that was the whole driving point of that, was that I'm paying this tax money, I'm not getting it back to do to send my kids to private school or any kind of non-traditional. So at that point we didn't have equal access, and all of my boys, as you know, are into sports, and that was a very big driving factor, and that was important for us. I think people learn a lot of things from playing team sports, and there's huge life lessons there. So he had talked about possibly wanting to go the year before, and then he didn't really. Well, that summer, it was probably June, he came to us and just said, I want to try this, and I feel like I'm ready. And he had some good reasons and that why he wanted to do it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go see, what happened. Well, and then Adam followed him, and then the year that Andrew, well, let me back up there, because we never would have known Sammy and Chriselle had that not happened. And then 2012 was when we did get an equal access law in South Carolina. So that was the end of Andrew's freshman year. But at that point, no AD, the coaches, nobody knew what it passed in June that year, and nobody really knew how it was going to shake out. So Andrew went ahead that year, but then really since then that's constantly evolving. That law is. In fact, I'm working on some legislation right now. Got to pick that back up in a few days in January when they go back in session, but to again make it more fair for kids who are in non-traditional school programs. But so that was that, that transition, and that kind of started our love of all things Travelers Rest, and we just met so many people over the years through that. But I am thankful now that people don't have to change how they want to educate their children. They can still educate at home or different ways and still participate in extracurricular, including sports.
Yeah, I think that's a big part, as I've talked about several times. I think team sports play a large role from all the learning perspectives. I completely agree. Did y'all have any influence on them getting into it, or was it just kind of? I imagine it was a lot naturally kind of occurring.
People ask me that. How did you get them to practice? And I'm like, no, didn't work that way. They drove every bit of that themselves. It was pouring down rain, and they're out there knocking each other around, on a field or under a basketball goal.
Yeah.
We did not drive that.
No.
I don't usually say never, but I don't ever remember a time ever with any of them saying, oh, you have to go practice, or you have to
go play something, or go do whatever.
They're just wired that way.
I would imagine. Well, as soon as you got one, I bet it was pretty hard for the others to not go.
Well, I have thought over the years, what would happen if one of them happened to have been passionate about art and not sports?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what God would have done with that, but they drove each other.
Yeah.
And Andrew, he would come in so fired up, mad. I can too do what they're doing. I can too do it. I can too. Just trying to be a couple of years younger than Philip and Adam, but trying to keep up, and which made him what he was.
Yeah. All that constant motivation to push the boundary.
Yep. Boys tend to do that for each other, but I do love sports, especially for my sons, because I think it puts them in the fire.
Yeah. And
you got to keep yourself under control if you want to stay and be a part of this team, or on this court, or on this field. And just the relationships that they've had, and also being about something bigger than yourself. And those are huge. Yeah.
It's well said. Did you have any, or did you play anything?
I played basketball.
So you played basketball as well?
I did.
So that's what,
I really wanted to be. I was student government. That was more my passion. Now Regs did. He played, and he obviously is. He's very competitive.
Yeah.
Even to this day, his office just this Christmas had a little, each department was competing for the best Christmas decorations, and they were having this judging contest. Well, he decided one night that he was going to pull in all of the grandchildren to be a walking live nativity so that he could win the competition. It was all about, that's what it was about.
Well,
so they all came, and they won, of course, and we had a brand new baby who was only...
That's hard to beat.
It was really hard to beat.
That's hard to beat when you have a live action.
I did get great amusement out of that. This was nothing but competition.
I guess that's the benefit of having 12 grandkids to field it. That works out pretty favorably.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's a great moment. Well, I am curious. Did you always did you want a large family?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I usually think I wanted 10.
10? Wow.
Yeah. But it was really hard on my body. It didn't stay pregnant real well, so it was hard. But I did, I love the controlled chaos. I love, they're just, it's awesome. I loved them when I really enjoyed all the stages. Doesn't mean that some of them weren't more difficult.
More aggravating than
stages. And I will say that a couple of them made me a better mother because of some of the things I had to, deal with and dig into. But it's the joy of my life, really. It's being a mom.
Imagine it feeds kind of into that or I don't know if it was teacher aspect, but some kind of
all
wanting to. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, some of my best memories are them all at home and us doing all these different little things and being around the table. When you could still we could all kind of be doing the same thing and we weren't all running here, there, and yonder but those are good days.
Well, it was nice when you had the big, do you still have the giant picnic table?
The big table.
Yeah.
We still have the big table.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
It stays full.
Yeah. What was learning, like, parenting like when, because you got a lot of things going on. You're trying to figure out how to do it.
Yep. I mean, I think for me, what I loved is that I never wanted it to be send my kids here, go serve and do this, or this kind of job that I can't, I couldn't really put all that to words before I had kids, but it became very, no, I want us to do things we do as a family together and not kind of put things in boxes or segregate things into this group's going to go do this. I love that family component.
You wanted like a unit.
Yes. I love that, as the older ones got older and there was another baby, they were there the first time that baby crawled or the first time that brother walked.
Yeah.
Or I also think, everybody goes through their own developmental stages and we all wrestle with different things. But if my kids were going away for 7 and 8 hours a day, how do you parent that? I don't know what they're struggling with there, or I don't know what just came out of their mouth there that we need to deal with and talk through and work through. So because we were all there together, and I've said over the years, like it wasn't just their little person, it was my sin and their sin and how it all bumped together and how we all dealt with those components made us stronger together. Not perfect, and I also say A plus B parenting does not equal C. Just because you put it in doesn't mean, I'm not responsible for that outcome. I am responsible for, what I put in, but God does what he does with the outcome on it. So.
Yeah. That's true. How was it getting to see all of their kind of personalities develop?
Yeah, I love that part, and I love it even to this day. And the first year Philip went to college, he came home in early May, when North Greenville got done, and took over the house. And I thought, all right, we will not do this again. We will be done with our school before he comes home, because it was just this whirlwind of personality, and he was much more exciting to whatever we were working on and doing. So, and if you hang out with Philip at all now, Philip likes to toss the little box. Sam does a pretty good job of that too. Toss that in and see what happens, and just stand back and watch the show. Yeah, pretty much always. So, but it is fun to watch how all of that, even now, in their grown up young adulthood, and how all that kind of just
has translated out.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch that.
Who do you think has the more similar personalities? Because from the outside, I think we all have our kind of assumptions, but from your side,
what would you say, Dylan? Go ahead.
Well, I have my answer. I don't want to bias your response with any input.
Let's just say that I have two that now they would not tell you that they are emotional, and I don't mean emotional in like a fluffy emotional way.
No.
It's just I always knew where I stood with Sam and Philip. Okay, it was always out there.
Yeah.
I did not have to guess. Everybody else, it's a little more controlled.
Yeah.
Yep. I kind of have to. Andrew's Lauren. We have two Laurens. Andrew's Lauren says, sometimes I want him to have a little more, a little more excitement, a little more emotion. But then again, when there's an emergency, this is who you get. You still get that level. So, but if you want things stirred up, you just poke Sam or Philip just a little bit.
Yeah, one of those two will
keep it lively.
They will.
Yeah.
They will. I think it's the most interesting that those two are the kind of most. I think they're the most similar out of all of them. But you wouldn't really expect it from like, because they're quite a few years apart. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny how like that worked out in a sense, and it's like don't get where that came from.
Some crazy combination of DNA.
Something random. Just put it there. That's how it spilled out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I would say so. It's always entertaining. With going with Philip first, having him go overseas. What was that kind of? I imagine you just support it best you can.
Oh yeah, we
but
did.
I imagine that not being like an easy.
No, but I loved that for him because he didn't go far away for school, and I love that my kids are all around, where we are.
Yeah.
But I also want that to be their decision. I want them to want that, and not for it to be some kind of guilt or stay here. So I loved that he had that opportunity.
Yeah.
We got to go see him once, and he, you figure out who you are and you figure out what you want. Mm-hmm. And pretty much people have to go through that.
Yeah.
And then if you want to come back where your family is, awesome. Mm-hmm. But that is part of kind of separating, and growing up. That's part of growing up.
Yeah. Letting them kind of fly.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
So now with you, where did you grow? What did you grow up? What was kind of your first interaction to kind of set you on this path?
Well, so that is an interesting question. You may or may not know this, but I was adopted.
I did not.
Yep. I was actually in an orphanage until I was almost 4 months old.
Wow.
In North Carolina.
Okay.
And then my parents, who are, my mom died almost, 2 years ago. My dad's just right down the street from me, and they couldn't have children, so adopted me, and then 3 years later adopted my brother, we're not biological, and then got pregnant with twins. So,
wow.
Yep. And so that's what I grew up in. I always knew that I don't ever remember not knowing that I was adopted.
Right.
So that was, it's just, I guess in my mind, I didn't really wrestle with that. I always have been pretty comfortable with God puts people in families how He wants them. Mm-hmm. And it was only, at that point when I was born, the records were all sealed. They still are sealed. But I had a copy of a letter about my birth mother. Like, she didn't write it, but the orphanage where I was had a little bit of history. Mm-hmm. Just basically my birthday, how old she was, where she lived, that kind of thing. Well, I did a DNA test about 5 years ago, and of course things popped up. And so I kind of played with that, and there was one that was a super close match. Like really, really close match, and I kind of reached out on Facebook, tried to, nothing. And I was actually coming back from, we were coming back from a Furman game. Andrew had played in Tennessee, and I got a Facebook messenger from a girl in Charleston who said, my family's really into genealogy, and it looks like we're a match, but you don't fit anywhere on any other side. It's like this random match. Yep. And so we started talking, and I sent her this letter, and she went back and forth with her mom, and they found, and they had over the years had put all these different genealogy trees together, and she said there's still one box in her closet she wants to go through. She found a handwritten family tree from a cousin, and it literally had my birth mother's, it had the age, and the 2 sisters, and she was like, that's got to be where you are. I told her I was adopted. So that's how I ended up finding but neither my birth mother nor my birth father were still alive. But I was able to find like her sister, and then that part of those two different parts of the family. So that was pretty wild. And then I met these two half sisters since then, and my kids have all met them too. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of wild. But anyway, there's that. That wasn't exactly where you were going, but
that's a very interesting story. You don't.
There is that. And then that birth father situation. Woo, that was a wild little.
Yeah.
That's a whole story for another day. Things I found out there, but I'll get Philip to tell you that part. He likes that story a whole lot. He's gone. Yeah, see, you only thought I was a little wild, though.
Yeah.
But
well.
yeah. So there's that. But anyway, and again, then I just always knew I wanted to teach, and graduated from Riverside, and again, I never looked back on any of that. So.
Did you grow up in North Carolina with? No.
So when I was adopted, so I was born in January, adopted the end of April, and they have always been in Greenville.
Oh, okay. So they're in Greenville. Were they? What were they kind of like? Or what were your
my parents?
Your adopted,
parents. They're awesome. My mom actually started the Bethany Christian Services office here in Greenville years ago, which is places kids, mothers who can't keep their child for whatever reason, and so it was just neat being able to see her live that out and place children in families, and then my dad taught school and was a counselor, forever until he retired, and so he's right up the street. And
so both of them were involved heavily in kind of child development, so that probably helped.
It was just kind of the right. And my dad's tall. People meet him like, oh, I wonder where you got your height from. I'm like, sometimes I don't even think about it. So
that's funny. It's like, well, funny story.
Sometimes I go into it, but
were they did they kind of instill like a religious background?
They're very strong believers. We grew up in in church, and that was, and again, I think and I don't ever remember not going, but again, I think people have to figure out who they are. Your faith has to be your own. You can't. You don't go to heaven on your parents' faith, so you got to figure that out on your own. And people have to do that, and I definitely did that, and so that was. But yes, we did definitely grew up, with strong Christian heritage. Yeah,
was finding kind of your path. Was that when you kind of went off to school, or like somewhere in that time?
Let's just say we won't go into all that story, Dylan, but there's. I had to do some pretty hard things to figure out, this might not be who I want to be.
Do some searching.
Just, you think, and I would say it wasn't that I never not believed in God. I just didn't really want him as Lord of my life. So let me just go do my own thing and kind of put that on a shelf over here. A lot of that.
I'd say that's probably. Everyone is very much their own journey and their own whatever their path is, I guess. And I think it's kind of. I think there's a lot of similarity in at least the trial by learning. I'll say maybe not always fire, but. There's normally sometimes some resistance. Sometimes it is fire. Sometimes it's burning around you. It's a little questionable. But I think that's interesting. That it's very like similar, at least in that aspect of it's finding yourself through the kind of I'm not gonna say teenage years or the early development. It's interesting.
Well, I think that's partly why I'm super passionate about teenagers, and again, helping parents kind of, take a breath. That's not the worst thing that can happen. Let's help walk them through this and figure out what restorative discipline and action, all that kind of looks. I mean, kids are going to mess up. They're going to screw up. I did my share of it. I can remember my mom saying, she would tell me years later, every night I'd be back on my knees. Lord, it's me again, and it's Suzanne again, and here we are. She was a very faithful prayer warrior. And God used those prayers, and we're all a work in progress. So I'm still a work in progress.
Yeah, but who's not?
Right.
Who's not? Yep. It's always funny not seeing how the bigger picture. I think getting to kind of see how it went from how you kind of progressed through your time to get to where you got.
I'm very strong-willed, always have been. I see that in Philip and Sam, and I do think, that's one of my messages to parents is, it's like learn how to channel that in your child, because that usually means God is preparing that person for something where they need to have every bit of that to push against or stand against or fight against. And but you don't want that to go off track. It's trying to figure out how to keep that strong will, keep that spirit alive in a child, but use it for good and not for evil.
Have you found, or I guess not what's your secret, but what kind of have you, what's kind of been your balance to try to push them to the center, or trying to use that actually towards
with
something?
Families?
Yeah.
I think when I work with kids who've made some kind of, some pretty bad choices, I do think there's a point in letting them own it. This is not the worst thing. Yes, there's going to be discipline, but be honest. You're not going to tell me anything that I've never heard before. I've heard it. I've heard it all.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And those choices, those decisions, that action, that's why Jesus came. And if you can help kids see that and help parents see that, and I think sometimes parents, they're so focused, and I was guilty of this too. You're so focused on this one thing that happened. Is this gonna, color this child's whole life? Oh my goodness, their life is ruined. Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a matter of, all right, let's get it out in the open. Let's, things brought to light are much better than things that are hidden.
Yeah.
Let's get it out in the open. Let's talk it through, and let's see what God's going to do with it. And let's figure out how to love them through it. And again, not, don't try to get them out of the consequences. Don't try to cover it up. And I love that about what we do in my organization, is that I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean I haven't expelled kids. If this is a danger to, there is a line, and if this is a danger to other people, or, whatever that is, then there is a line. But you're going to get a second chance for the most part. Now, after that second chance, it could change.
Yeah.
But I want us to be about restorative discipline. And let's, and if you're willing to own something, and you're willing to do whatever you have to do to make it right, then we're going to do that, and we're going to pick up and move on. We're not going to talk about it again.
Yeah.
And I love that we can do that. I love that part of what I do.
I think that's restorative discipline. I think that's an interesting way of, I don't know if I've ever heard it quite phrased like that, but it makes a lot of sense on what the idea is. Cause
that's what God wants for His people. He wants to. There's going to be consequences to things, but bring people back, into the fold. And it's not done this stupid thing. Get out of my face. I don't ever see you again. No, but that is very hard when you're the parent and it's your child. It's easier for me, where I can stand back and I can go, okay, here's a big picture here. I'm not, but let me help you walk through this from from where I sit. So there's a lot of that. That we do, even, I would say to you, homeschool students, it's a normal bell curve. These are normal kids.
They're still kids.
They're still kids, yes. It's none of that's different, and I think people's, their perspective of homeschooling has changed. COVID did a huge, we were already on this trajectory of just people wanting something different, but COVID yanked that veil back and brought us. We've doubled our enrollment since then.
So you were at like 150?
Oh no, I was at 7.
Oh, you got 7. Okay.
780, 790 at that point, and we're sitting at almost 1,700 kids right now. And wait list. I've got wait list everywhere.
Yeah.
And we just opened the 4th campus this year, and we're looking to open another campus, not this coming year, but and that, I guess that cat's out of the bag now. My employees know. My families don't all know yet. We're planning to announce a little bit more about it in a couple of months, but it won't open this coming fall. It'll open the next fall, Lord willing.
Are y'all going to try to keep opening a campus pretty much?
I do not know. I would have told you
if you could
10 years ago. No, it's not going to work. It's just, but the need is just, I mean, 2 years ago, we turned away in enrollment. We turned away 221 families.
Ew.
And some families got 1 child in.
Couple, so you're at like
That's 0 children.
Yeah.
In. Somewhere. So that's where, that's another one of those. I'm just trusting the Lord to provide. If he's going to keep bringing us these people, then he got to find somewhere to put them. Man, he keeps finding somewhere to put them. So,
got to keep building the bigger ark. You can't get everyone on.
Right. So, but I do love the idea. I've said all along, I think when we just had the one Greenville campus, I mean, I have people driving over an hour. I've got 8 families in North Carolina right now that drive to us. I've got people up above Gaffney, people below Clemson. I've got people on the other side of Chapin.
2.5 hour drive
They're
time.
It's crazy. But they can't find, this. So, when you look at that, okay. I love that it's a little, like there's a Spartanburg campus.
Yeah.
So it's not just, I didn't love that, my kids would make friends and they'd be 60 minutes away. You can't just go run over there in the afternoon or something. So we'll see, but he's got to keep bringing me the right leadership to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, to staff all the places. Y'all want to stay in South Carolina, or you eventually think it would kind of just...
Probably. I've had the question asked, do you want a franchise? And the thing about franchising is, I mean, it's a lot of work for it to keep your
brand.
Yeah.
To keep the personal mission that you're pushing.
Yeah.
So
don't ask me about my exit strategy. You could get Rex on here and he can tell you there is no exit. I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I'm getting younger. But I do want... I do love what we do, and we don't we hire people who come in for that mission and they understand it and they want something that looks a little bit different. And so that is a growth, as you scale, trying to hold that is kind of like holding Jell-O. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think, do you still want to be, I imagine you probably want to be involved in some capacity for as long as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it seems like character-wise, that's kind of
I don't know. We'll see what God does, but I don't want to stop yet. I mean, right now I'm on a campus. I just bop around from campus to campus, and it's really important to me to know all my employees. I want to know something about them, so I literally go and look through their window and try to speak to. But that's me. The next person, that may not be as important. I want it to be as important. I have to be able to. It's just when it's been your baby and. I want it to be personal, and that does get a little tricky with the numbers that we have.
When you start going across, multiple campuses with 170 employees and 1,700 kids, it's hard to.
It is.
Reflect it.
And I don't know the younger family. Like I'll be somewhere with Abby, and she's like, "Okay, that's so and so," and because she runs my elementary program, so I have a program director for elementary, middle, and high, and they're tasked with anything that happens under, almost like an assistant superintendent, if you would, for elementary, middle, and high. So she definitely knows, as my kids are, they're gone. I know a lot of their siblings, and just trying to remember all those people. But she's like, "That's so and so, and they have 4 kids, and they're on this campus." And I'm like, "I just need you to stay right here with me."
Yeah, just keep feeding.
That's right. Keep chirping all that in my ear.
Tell me all this important information. Yeah, that's nice to have sometimes.
Yeah.
Golly, I did not know it was quite that. I knew it was a lot going on. That's wow.
Yeah, and we have partnerships with, so we have dual enrollment partnerships with North Greenville. They come onto our campus and teach college classes. We have a special partnership with Bob Jones where our kids go there and there's extra things that they get for that. We are launching, we announced it in November, we are launching a career and trade connections program.
Ooh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. It'll launch in the fall, but we're getting ready to host businesses. So think of how public schools will put kids at career centers. Well, right now our kids are getting locked out of those career centers. We just can't get in. So I'm like, we can do this. We're going to figure this out. So instead of a career center, we're going to pair them with their interest in an actual business. So they'll get high school and they'll get internship credit.
Yeah.
And there's certain things to be in the program that they have to agree to, certain types of courses that would help prepare, like a career exploration or a career success.
Yeah.
So they've got to do some of those courses before they can do an internship. And they're going to have to apply and sit for an interview. And so we're looking for business partners. We're going to do a big luncheon this coming January just to invite these businesses in. And I had 60 kids with interest who filled out the form within the first week.
Well, I think that'd be the biggest draw to the schools. I mean, the way I'm thinking about it is the fact of if you're going through a high school, if you're freshman year, freshman and sophomore year, you're taking your development courses or whatever they may be, professionalism courses.
Right.
And then your junior and senior year having a chance to actually go intern at a business, like doing something, it would be a major draw. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing in it. I mean, even in college, if you can have that as like some of them do have like the intern as a requirement.
Right. Sure.
Having that is very big, especially, I mean, it gets your foot in the door as the kid, and then also businesses, you kind of get a chance to help out, and also, they do work, but you get a chance to see if you want them as a full-time employee. So on their end,
that's right. It's a win-win. It is. But also, how much better if you're a senior in high school and you thought you wanted to go into, I don't know, you thought you wanted to be a pilot, and you went and interned somewhere and like, no, actually I really have a fear of flying in this, or
I don't like heights.
turns out I don't. So whatever. Much better to figure that out early
than having to wait until you can get an intern in college or whatever it may be. And
it's just so much more widely accepted as college costs have gone up. That people everybody doesn't need to go to college. Some people do, but everybody doesn't need to. So figure out what that is and have some experiences that help you narrow that down. Yeah,
I think that ability to kind of get out there and try things and experiments very important for kids, especially when it's it's not the biggest decision you're ever going to make, but it is an important decision on what's your path going to be, and finding something you're interested in and having an early opportunity to do that. That's pretty incredible. That's a very incredible chance to do that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it.
So. Is it going to be just finding is it going to be trade specific, as in like?
Well, that's kind of where I thought we were going, and then when the kids started filling out the form, we were having them list what types of things are you interested in, what types of job. It wasn't just trades. There was a lot of trade, but maybe it was hospitality or so then we're like, we could, the way we're modeling this, not after a career center, if you will. Maybe it is cosmetology, but we can just as easily put somebody in a, small mechanic, company as we could find somebody to go work hospitality or whatever. Right. So it's kind of an interesting blend. We'll see what happens. And
you're doing a luncheon to try to
We're doing a luncheon January 21 on our Greenville Middle and High School campus, and we've got sponsors for, I had a goal to raise money just to kind of get it launched, and I hit that in 2 weeks. We got somebody sponsoring the lunch, and So we've sent out some invites, and I need to get it posted on our website. We're gonna push it again the first week of January.
Yeah,
just see, and no, you're not committed. It's just come see what it's about, and we're gonna learn a lot. I've realized how much I don't know, and so I'm gonna.
That's always fun.
It is. It's awesome. Yeah. Like, okay, I hadn't thought about it that way. But so we're gonna learn a lot this first go around, and we'll figure out. And that's so therein right there is a great example of not being accredited and not having to meet somebody's
standard.
I can go, I thought we were going to do that, and we just figured out last week that is not a good idea, and we need to go this way, and we can just do that. Yeah,
you can steer the ship very much how you want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
We are an NCAA certified school, so I did go through all of that several years back. Helped my personal children.
Yeah.
But anything people take with us, it's just like if you were at Travelers Rest, all those courses, because they are an NCAA. The district is they're basically certified under the Graham County District, but I am certified under the school. So all of my courses that you take with us, that doesn't mean maybe you're taking some other course at home or online somewhere. It doesn't mean that one's going to count. But
all the ones are y'all
homeschool athletes, and as equal access has gotten to be more. It's gotten to be legal, and even in different states, that's become more important because now you've got NCAA who's got all these states and all these different laws, and they're like, it's different every state.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that you might need for South Carolina graduation that the NCAA doesn't take.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with homeschooling.
Yeah.
And there's just certain courses. So, trying to figure that out and figure that game out. But that's another level of what we do. It's a great, and it's a wonderful support for our families. If you've got kids who are going on to run track or whatever their sport is.
That they can actually go play.
Yeah, and not have to deal with all the paperwork that the parents would have to do and worry about this course and that course and all that kind of thing. So,
makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty cool. It's very interesting. How much do you think you're gonna push do you have any involvement in your I imagine Abby's kids would go kind of this route. Do you think all of them will want to?
As it is right now, they're all being homeschooled.
Okay.
So we'll see. All the school age ones are being homeschooled. Okay. So that's and I think my kids. Some of them are like, oh, we're not going to do that. But when it's your 4-year-old that you're getting ready to send all day, and again, the things that, you probably learned some things that came to light in COVID that you didn't realize were happening. You can be in a school, like TR, it's very small town, community, teachers. It's not that, it's the agenda that's being pushed up here, and so there were so many things that came to light really in COVID, and parents are like, "Whoo, didn't know that."
Yeah, I think there's a lot about the school system that kind of got realized that it's not the most efficiently functioning system out there, but I think that's, as you saw, I think that's why people are steering now very heavily. Yeah. I think it's going to be very interesting the next 10 years what happens with what you're doing, as now kind of our generation has kids and they get into those ages of starting school. As I think it's something completely homeschooling just doesn't seem like something I would want to do.
Right, it's scary.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not my passion to be a teacher.
Right.
It's not for me. But very much of this kind of idea of the co-op fits a lot more into things that I find to be useful, practically wise, of you're going to go learn subjects, you're going to go learn other things that are, the trade idea that you're doing, the kind of, you need to be responsible for doing your work.
Yes.
And also, I think not being bored is another thing. I think when you get to, if you're good at math and I finish my math sheet and I just have to sit here, it's like, well, I don't really want to read after, want to go.
You talking about like if you were sitting in a traditional classroom?
Yeah, when I'm sitting in a regular classroom, and it's just very much like
wasting time.
Yeah, killing time, or I don't know how to do this, but I don't really want to ask.
Right.
I mean, there's just
there you go. I mean, those are some of the reasons that drive parents, and it's so many parents right now are. I mean, they're making really hard decisions. Somebody's sacrificing.
Yeah.
To be, they're sacrificing an income, they're, whatever it is. And it's just, it is tough. I mean, you're living it.
Yeah.
It is tough out there. But when parents, and it's one thing to have this thought until it's your child. And their parents are making huge sacrifices to be home, with their kids. And even if it's part-time like this. And I do think that's part of what has driven the need and what's bringing people to us. It's the old homeschool, which is kind of where I was you had to do all of it. You were passionate about curriculum, you were looking to see what worked best for this child's learning style, or how do we make it work for a family, how do we that kind of component. But now there's so many choices. And people, and you've got one parent who says, okay, well, if they're there 2 days a week, I could, if I'm a nurse, but I could go work those days and make a
good amount of money.
Yeah, a good amount of money 2 days a week and still be home with my kids.
Yeah.
So people figured it out, and they really saw it, with COVID, people thought, like that next year, when things still weren't, quite all worked out. It wasn't going back to... we had so many families, and they would come to our enrollment and come to our interview process, and we're not real homeschoolers. We are only doing this, for a year, and then we're going to go back. We don't think we can do this. They didn't go back. And they brought their friends. And here we are. And I'll say I'm very much about school choice. I work for that on the state level. I think we need a myriad of different ways to educate children. It's not one size fits all.
No.
And even if you're a forever, I'm public school, this is what I want, your family could have some catastrophe, 1 year, or maybe there's a mental health challenge with a child, and they need to be, they can't do that 5 days. We've got to have ways that we can move kids in and out, for what works. And I'll say too, and you're still close enough to it that phone and that social media in the hands of an 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, every single day, 5 days a week, them going back into that setting. Somebody's always videoing something, anything you say, anything you do. The pressure of that on a developing child, they're not wired for that. Yeah. And that's why we're seeing, just the mental health absolute breakdown of these kids. Yeah. So there is that's another thing I love about what we do, because they're coming 1 or 2 days, and you're like, okay, I got a little bit of, this kind of community piece that's happening here, and this social piece, and that's how this child's going to react. But you can help them work through it. They can kind of reset. They're not back there just the next day. Yeah. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. It's from my point of view, we were the first generation. We had Instagram and Snapchat when I was in 6th grade. That's when it first came out. That was the first time you had iPhones, when you could, or smartphones at least, when throughout them, and then you could Snapchat, Instagram, and we were very much the guinea pigs of the whole social experiment on what you do with it, and have seen a lot of good and bad from both of it. I would say as a middle schooler, you did not need either of those. I don't think it helped anything. I think the 24/7 the idea of, that you're always on camera is just something,
it's too much.
It's not great. it's not great to also be seeing what everyone else is doing as much as you kind of want to deny it of, oh, I'm not jealous of them or I'm not influenced by it. It's very much there, subconsciously, if nothing else. I think that's a whole different topic of parenting now. That, you know, I don't know how much, but it's just kind of like, to me, it's now very much, I don't want my kids to have social media in the sense. I don't think you can avoid the internet. I don't think that. But at least the internet, you can kind of parent more with guardrails. Right. And
although these children are real smart.
They are. The only difference is that we've had technology in our hands the same amount of time. Yeah. Would be the only, like, all the shortcuts and get arounds that you're thinking of.
A lot more about it than we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's that, but I imagine kids are notorious.
If they want to do it,
they're going to find some way to get around it.
But it is, yeah.
But it is a whole different idea of when you're going to school 5 days a week and everything, something stupid you said or something, you know, whatever X is, now you have to deal with it the whole week, or at least until something else happens. It's not great. So
it's not.
Yeah, there is a beauty in the 2 days a week of having time to release. But the other thing is,
realize it's not going to blow up quite if you let it go.
It's not going to quite end it. But having to deal with it also does something. I mean, you do have to deal with scrutiny early on, whether that's great or probably not the most.
But that's everywhere. You're going to get that in your neighborhood or in your, you know, it's not like you have to go sit in the classroom for that.
No. Getting socially blasted, though, on, you know, Instagram, like Snapchat, something. Well, you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
There is some.
But you got to think of it from a developmental, like, you and I are processing it at a higher developmental level than where children are in their brains are just they
you can't get around it.
Can't process it at the same level you are, and that's part of the danger, you know, of it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to wrap your brain around. Like, what is that really wiring their brains for?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting topic.
It's going to be interesting to see how it. Once you get the long-term data really on it, I mean, there's already early stuff on it.
Yep, there is.
Especially with, there's a lot of stuff on teenage girls specifically. A lot of negatives.
By far the worst.
Yeah. Let alone whatever. I think mental health has risen. That I'm interested always in the correlation to how much more we're just open to talking about it versus previous generations kind of. Yeah. Being open to talk about it. I think it's good. I do think that could skew kind of the data set a bit. I don't know how much to say. Not doing the study, so don't know.
Yep.
But it plays a factor. All that to say, do y'all have, is it like phones? Are y'all anti that while at school?
They can bring them, but we have, as soon as they come in the classroom, on the back of every door, there's this, it looks like a shoe bag, kind of, but it's pockets, and they're numbered, and so they have to put their phone. 6th grade and down, they're not supposed to have them at all. Right? They're not supposed to bring them on campus. But then 7th through 12th, they have to come, when they come in the classroom, if they have them, they have to put them in the bag. Yeah. So that if there's an emergency, the phone's in the room. Yeah. But it has to be off. Yeah. And it's in the bag until the end of class. So I feel like it's a good compromise.
I think so. I mean, you don't need it while you're there.
Right.
It's not.
Right. Right. Yep.
With technology, how is AI being used in?
Oh, that's a hot one.
That's a fun one.
That's a hot one. Yeah. You know, it's an interesting subject as you're developing critical thinkers. So again, the developmental age of a child. You know, is it going away? Nope. So we all better learn how to use it. But there is this, you know, this school of thought of these middle and high school. They need to learn how to think. Yeah. And so, you know, you don't want to be graduating. These people are going to schools or going into the workplace, and you talk to any employer these days, and you hear a lot of that. You know, they don't know how to think. They can't problem solve. They can't So there is trying to find that balance of how to use it, when to use it responsibly, but still know how to think and problem solve and wrestle through that. And about the time you think, okay, maybe we're 20% of trying to figure that out, something changed. It's 3 weeks later and it's
something new came out, and
so it's a tough one. Use it to help you start this outline for this paper, but then write your paper. And I think young people in general they see print everywhere. So it almost doesn't occur to them that what I'm reading on this phone or this computer is somebody else's work. It's somebody's work. They don't think of it that way. And so we work really hard on helping them, and they can fail a paper. I mean, my teachers are putting things into into these checkers, and because again, and it's not we're trying to. They're very honest about it to begin with. We don't want you to use it this way. Use it this way, but make this be your own, your own work, so that you are learning how to think.
So it's complicated. So you kind of try to avoid it, I imagine, early on. Like, is there a grade limit that you're kind of like, this is when y'all can?
They'll talk. Obviously, the older students are. They're doing the different types of things they're doing in class, and I'm having to learn it too. Like, I could have just asked Chat to write me this scavenger hunt on. I'm not wired that way. So I'm having to learn how to, when can you take, this shortcut, but when does this need to be my own, my own thinking, and it's, and who knows what is actually real and what's not real. All that it's complicated.
I think it is complicated too. I think education is the hardest one to figure out what to do with it. To me, it's kind of what you're saying is like the outlining process of Chat, make this outline. It makes sense, right? For like when I'm talking to you, if I wanted to write a paper and I was like, Chat, give me some ideas. What are we coming up with? But at 15, I think there is something to struggling and looking at a blank sheet of paper that's beneficial.
You've got to be able to wrestle with your own thoughts and know how to think.
Whereas, but on the same hand, you do need to know how to. You're going to use it. But it is it's hard. Have you thought about just offering an AI class like specific, like that's?
We've done some different type seminars and different things that that we do. And again, it's just we probably need to do more of it. And the way we've pushed it, instead of doing it from all of our high school or middle school, we've kind of pushed it to our teachers to say, here's the guidelines. Figure this out with your own. I'm trying to give them some freedom to.
They have to figure out how they want to use it.
Right, in their class. These are smart, educated people. They can, figure it out in your specific class. If it's biology or, chemistry, or if it's an English, class, figure it out how you want that to work in that class. So it's again the whole different classes. What are you trying to teach? But none of us want a doctor who doesn't know how to brainstorm this crazy thing that's happening in your body. And
if you can't you should be able to do critical thinking pretty fastly.
You do. And not
I can't go to
something
Chat
in there every time.
I completely agree with that. I just thought, once again, at the forefront of it, got to see it come out. And then now as I'm like doing my master's, has been a different kind of experience with it. So it's kind of like, I think it came out my sophomore year of, it became popular, I believe, in about my sophomore year of college. Of where you could just be like, Chat, write a paper. And it would write a paper. And then you kind of moved to, I think my senior year is a zero tolerance AI policy. And now it's kind of swung to make what you're saying of, you decide how to use it. But I think that's even now, it's very much like you have teachers that are extremely against it, extremely for it.
Everywhere.
And it's across the nation.
It's Which makes it even more confusing for students.
Yes.
That's why we felt like we wanted to push it to our teachers, let them make that, decision. None of them are saying it's okay, use it widely. None of them are saying that.
Yeah.
But they are, trying to break it down. If you're in this English class or history class, you've got to be able to think and wrestle through with ideas. So
I think it's most interesting to use with if you have a paper and you can give it to it and be like, give me speaking notes. That's very helpful on things. Anything with writing is just normally, it's like having a co-author the whole time when you're drafting
that's a good way
something.
to think about it, yeah.
If you think of it as if you let it be the author, that's when you have a problem.
Right.
That's when, all right, you're not really doing anything.
Right.
But when you can have it, the ability to summarize is the incredible part. Now, let alone what else you can really do with it, being able to read documents and take what's important from this, what's not.
But who's deciding what's important?
Well, it's coming from a data set of, so, like for what I'm using it for, is bike ped plans. And so when it's looking through all these bike ped plans, I have a data set that it's looking at, and I'm asking what is most common, what is best looking at the factors that I've decided. So what is the economic important factors? What is your bike lane mileage? What is the level of traffic stress for the bike lane? All of the factors I'm feeding it is what it's using as its criteria to go off of. So
that makes sense.
So if you have a set criteria,
right.
I think when you ask it what's best, it's going to go off of whatever general knowledge it has. So if it reads, the billions of documents it has in its memory, and it sees that this phrase is being repeated a lot, then it's going to determine that's the best. Now, you can kind of lead it astray, but I would say generally it's going to be pretty accurate of what you ask for. But the problem is, if you don't know how to use it, if I just ask what's the best thing about Clemson, that's not a specific question. I'm not going to get, if you ask a vague question that's not really answerable, you're going to get you're going to get an answer, but it's going to be a vague, generic answer.
Right.
What you feed in is very much what you're going to kind of get out. The hallucination rate of, I think, kind of what you're touching on, of when it spits out source, XYZ from whatever newspaper, it's just fabricated and made up. That happens. I would say it's becoming less common now. Very early on, that was a problem. But I think now very much, if you're feeding it a specific answer and you have at least general knowledge of what you're talking about, it very much can help you get to what you kind of want to talk about. But how do you translating that into educational form? Not simple, because
younger students.
My use for it's very different than
yes.
What.
Right, in the 8th grade when you were
trying to just learn how to write a paper, it's very different. One use that has been interesting is creating a draft to explain how to write a paper. So it kind of helped with one of my professors. He had an undergrad class, and it was how do you write a term paper? And so it was chat, you fed it like a prompt, and then it would help you walk through, all right, this is the steps you need to take. You need to brainstorm. And then it would say, I'm going to pause until you feed me an outline. And so then it would give it. Now, you can't just open another chat and then kind of beat the system. If you want to hack the system,
right,
it's pretty unavoidable. But I thought that was interesting as a tool to actually, as a tool for learning.
Right.
So there are things you can do with it. It's just the fact that it always wants to give you the answer. And so if you're trying to use it for answer or do this assignment and I'm not going to give you any of the answers, it's probably eventually going to tell you the answer because that's what it's designed to do.
Right.
But if you're using it as an assistant, it can be an assistant very well. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, but again, that's your 20-something, take on it, and not a 13-year-old.
How do you translate that into a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
That's very complicated. It's
Yeah.
that's not
And furthermore, I would take that if you had not learned how to think when you were 13, 14, 15, could you make, this educated?
Yeah, probably not. I would argue unlikely, but
I don't know.
You don't know for sure. I think it'd be interesting to have just an AI. I think AI classes in general. I think just focusing on how do you use it. Because at work, I know at work I use it. It's not in school.
Yeah.
I have to use it. I think having a class. I think just in the classroom setting, there's not a. I don't think there's an amazing functionality to it yet.
Right.
But need to talk about it. Have to talk about it.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So, to bounce to a very different topic that Sam wanted me to ask about.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Yeah. He wanted me to ask about getting arrested in Russia.
Oh, he did want you to ask about that.
Yeah.
Well, I would have brought my uniform if I had known we were going to talk about this.
He's been asking for the past, since I said you were going to come on, he was like, you got to ask her.
Remember when I said there were lots of these
trials and tribulations?
Okay, Dylan. All right. That's fair. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. So I went when I was at Furman. I did a foreign study term.
Yeah.
And I went to the Soviet Union, Poland, East Germany, all these Eastern Bloc countries at the time. This was right before the wall came down. I'm really old, Dylan.
So that's like USSR,
yes,
is that correct?
Yes, and before you could just travel into Poland and before all that kind of thing. In fact, I touched the wall in Berlin. So anyway, we went to Russia. We were staying in Moscow and in a hotel right off of probably Lenin Square where Lenin's buried and yada yada yada.
Yeah. So
we knew going in that they couldn't get jeans. Definitely not American jeans, but I know it's hard to even think that way now.
Yeah.
They couldn't get jeans. And so we knew the kids, the young people would want to trade things for jeans. So all of us that went, or most of us that went, took extra jeans, and this was kind of at the end of the trip, knowing that we were going to trade. So this and little kids would want to trade you these little pins, lapel pins, like they want to give you a pin for gum and candy and things like that. That was easy.
Yeah.
That wasn't complicated.
No problem.
Yeah. So there were a couple of guys that were on this trip, and they had run into, didn't speak English, some guys out on the square who basically, however they communicated this, come to this apartment, we want to trade for jeans.
Yeah.
We've got things you want to trade for. So we left in the dark, which you also don't do then.
Yeah.
And I really, if it was I wouldn't, none of us would have been alive. It would be locked up somewhere if this happened many more years later than when it did happen.
Yeah.
So we walked down the street, again in the dark. We were being trailed because this was a foreign hotel per se, so the KGB was on this hotel. We didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
We went down a couple of blocks, down this back alley, following this guy into their apartment.
Yeah.
In the middle of Russia, in the dark at night. And we walked into this very dark apartment, curtains, and no really doorways, but very tiny, these curtains hanging, and they wanted jeans, and they were willing to trade. You also couldn't just go in and buy a Russian flag or have an army uniform. They got special army hats. So we traded for these things, and we took our army uniform and our things back to the hotel, and probably 20 minutes later I'd gone into my room and KGB was on the door of the guys. They were banging on their door.
Yeah.
So the two professors that were with us, they wouldn't let them in, wouldn't let anybody else in. And so they interrogated them. They never came to get me. I don't know if it's because I was female. I don't know why at that time. But they took everything they had traded for. I was the only one that got out. So now I'm like terrified at this point.
Yeah.
So we were leaving. They did not take, but they did interrogate them pretty bad, and they took their things, but they did not take them. I think they walked them outside. I mean, they were scaring them up a little bit, but they did not, so, and I'm, like, this might not have been a really good idea.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can call. We didn't have phones then. Then you're just there. I mean, you're just stuck. So when we were leaving and we were going through, again, we never would have gotten out of customs. I never would have gotten through at this point. But so the whole group made me go last.
Yeah.
And I wrapped the flag like around my body, and then I had stripped off all the buttons on the jacket. And I had put all the buttons and all the medals that were on the coat in this little pouch where I had the little buttons, the little pins that that was the important part of the story. I traded, so all those were mixed in there. And so when I knew it was going to go through X-ray and it would just show up, like it was these pins and all these kind of things, which it did. And I'm still back there. I'm literally the last of this group of 24, 25.
Yeah.
So I have the flag wrapped around me, and then I had the jacket stripped down on bulky winter Russian wool, and then I had a turtleneck over that. And then I had my coat. So I was kind of walking like...
Just extend it.
Yeah. And then I got through. I got all the way through, and no one making any sound or any expression until we got completely out. And then, so I have it, actually. And I actually go in and tell my world history classes this whole story. This is one of those don't do this. Don't do this. But yeah, I have it.
That's pretty cool. So you have an actual Army uniform from, wow. That's
No, I was the only one who got out with anything because they all got busted. So
yeah, I bet very few people can say that.
Yeah, there's that. Those are the things I didn't tell. I mean, I didn't tell my parents. Well, I couldn't call my parents, but you just don't tell them any of those things until you get back. In fact, I don't think I told them that for a little while.
Probably waited on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not something I would recommend.
No. I probably would not try it again.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Or away.
Yeah. Yeah. That could have been very,
so there's
very
that.
much worse.
Yep. Yeah. Remember the guy who got, a few years back, who went into North Korea and took the posters off the wall, and they basically sent him home in a body bag? Yeah. Yeah, that.
That could have been,
that kind of thing, yeah. I know I would hear that story and I'd be like, huh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna not say anything.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Get me through my stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Any other stories Sam wanted me to tell you?
No, that was the highlight.
Okay.
That was the highlight.
Okay, awesome.
That was the one he was most interested, and I can see why. I can understand. That's very fun.
Awesome.
So the farm. How did that come to be?
I've always loved that. I used to show cattle back when I was young, like middle and
really?
4-H. Yeah, my grandparents had a farm, Black Angus, and so I would show work with my.
That was always
I just have always really wanted it, and well, again, it's just actually, I think I thrive in controlled chaos. I think that's what it is. Maybe it's not controlled. Sometimes it's just chaos, but yeah, I do. But yeah. It's good. I mean, I think, and also kids learn a lot of life lessons. Working farms, and you learn how to work hard. And, even Coach Mills used to say, I'm going to send all these kids over to your house to learn how to work. Right? The farm, they need the farm workout today. Yeah,
the farm workout would be good.
Get your hands dirty and...
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it.
It's just good lessons, and I just there's a lot of reasons I love it, but
yeah. Did y'all start out with just a few chickens or?
Yeah, chickens, goats. You kind of quickly get into goats, and then we just had cows, and then we sold those 2 cows a couple of weeks ago, and we're gonna wait and get beef cattle in the spring. So.
Have y'all done any of your own butchering or anything, or is it all just for...
every deer, that.
Yeah.
is butchered on our.
Yeah.
In fact, I've told Rex that I would like to not be the butcher. He needs another butcher shop employee because
I'm done.
The last 2 times I've had this job, and I don't relish that job. And I think he has enough sons that he should be able to find one of them. Don't you agree?
I would agree. I would say between the half dozen, can pick one of.
Yes, but it's been me the last 2 times, so.
Amazing. Out of all the people.
Yes.
How much fun.
So you feel free to come on over. There's one sitting in the cooler that needs to be.
It's ready?
It's probably ready, yeah. So just keep that in mind, Dylan. If you need a job tomorrow. It's probably tomorrow night, actually. Probably is, yeah.
Oh, what a fun date night activity to go down there and...
Bring Keely if you want. Yeah. Awesome.
I don't think she would.
Bring Sam.
Sam should go down there. Sam called me one time. Sam would text me and he was like, "Oh, I'm about to come over." And then it was like 3 hours, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm butchering a deer right now."
There you go.
And I was like, "You thought I was like a quick activity to turn around and get ready to go?"
No, makes a real big mess.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
He's the most untidily tidy person that probably ever existed.
Okay, that's a good way to.
He
has always liked order. Now, if I needed to keep Sam busy, see, Sam has always, he needs, a lot of people need their hands busy, but Sam needs his brain and his hands busy, or he was in trouble.
Yeah.
Did you know that about Sam?
No, but I can
you
very easily.
Yeah, not just his hands. His brain had to be. I can be a little bit like that myself, actually. It turns out, but he was one you could say, go organize that closet or that cabinet, and he really actually thrived on that. So, or the workshop, or Rex still has some little things labeled in his workshop with Sam's writing. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm not sure that they're in the right place, but he does still have some things labeled that way.
See, if you leave Sam there long enough, it'll bother him. I have seen that. He's the other day I think he cleaned his whole house. It was just out of the blue. It just decided.
Yep.
That he was gonna clean everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was at work and I just all of a sudden Courtney was like, "Sam's driving me crazy."
See, that's what it is. He needs his hands and his mind busy, and if one of those was not busy, trouble was happening.
Well, once the mind's going, it's very much going to flow. Body's going to follow. Once his mind, if he goes to work for like an hour and the brain turns on, then he's on.
Yeah, he actually does get that from me. That's one of those, your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. It can drive everyone crazy, but yeah.
There's a lot to. It's nice.
It's why my staff likes it when I'm home and I'm creating those things for myself in my house and not giving them projects
just
ideas and things. Yeah. You keep doing that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those kind of things. So, yeah.
What are some of your hobbies that you do? I imagine you don't have a ton of free time, but is there things that you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like creating things, so that could be in my house or outside. It's also, I think that's what co-op is also.
Yeah.
It's that, so again, this all goes back to the brain needs to be.
Keep constantly going.
It just twirls things. Like I don't have to force myself to sit around and, okay, I need to solve it. I wake up that way.
Yeah.
And then when I'm ready to go to bed, if I sit down, I'm going to sleep. So, but it's that drive of, but I do love, like I've really gotten into gardening. I do love my animals. Had another big garden this summer.
Yeah.
It's a constant challenge to keep those animals out of it. The grandchildren are a great hobby.
Yeah, I imagine so.
I mean, co-op's a hobby.
Yeah.
It is a hobby.
Ish. Yeah. More of a lifestyle now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The garden's fun.
Is. Yeah.
Gardening is pretty interesting.
Yeah. You just need a little bit. Well, you got a little
There's a little spot.
You could do some raised beds back there.
We could put a little planter's box or something back there.
You could.
Yeah.
Some little tomatoes and peppers and.
That's what we've done. Tomatoes at Mark and Julie's house. We've done that. Yeah, but I would like to do that once we have an area to call our own.
Right.
I like that. I mean, I imagine you like the activity of doing it, but also you actually have something to eat.
Yes, Well, that first freeze that we had, the crazy early freeze, that cold.
Yeah.
I had to go pick. I mean, otherwise, if I had not had to pick all my tomatoes, I would still have tomatoes on my plants. But I've still I had to pick green ones, and they are still in my windowsill turning. It's the end of December.
Yeah.
I had that many tomatoes.
Jeez.
And I put them up and up and up. So many tomatoes, which was awesome.
That's pretty great. Get a lot of...
And a lot of the grandkids like doing it, like especially Adam's kids. They love it. Their other grandmas taught them lots about plants, so they love coming over and helping.
Yeah.
Do that, so it's good.
It's nice to have little workers.
Yes.
It's nice to have an army of...
Yes, I know. And they, her older two helped me when I had to pull up all those plants. And Craig tried to tell me I couldn't pay them what I wanted to pay, what I paid them. And I said, I can too. I'm the grandmother. I can pay them whatever I want to pay them to help me. They worked hard for almost 3 hours.
Yeah. They deserved it after that.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
But, it is. It's just good. I think it's good for kids to know where their food comes from, and that's just another lifestyle kind of thing. And
yeah. Is that a mix of a thing of like you just kind of wanted your own, to kind of have your own food and like?
Yeah, well, at our old house where the big basketball court is, that used to all be a garden.
Yeah.
And so those older children of mine would say to you, "Oh, the younger ones had it way easy. They didn't have to weed that big space. They got to play basketball on that big space." But it is true.
Yeah. That also, I guess, with the farm, 'cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go out and get your eggs, and I mean, there are people who do it so much more seriously than we do it. But,
yeah. So it's kind of a mixture of like hobby and not like kind of health.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
I like that. It's one day, hopefully, have some sort of
you can get
miniature.
Sam to build you some raised beds out there. You could do it. You some raised beds.
Some raised beds would be something.
You wouldn't have to mow your little square out there. You
No.
just have your little...
No, I do wish it was just... Well, mowing it, they mow it with... It's part of like the... we pay for it, but... Yeah, I'd rather just be like... I wish the front was concrete. I don't get the
Instead
point.
of your
like...
Little...
Yeah.
Do they mow that part too?
Yeah, but... I mean, it's up, down.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
But whatever. That's the only thing.
Put your little mulch bed in instead of grass.
Anything, yeah. What is your favorite story from raising all the children? What's the one that sticks out the most?
Keeping them alive?
No, I'd say that's probably a continuous story. Even now.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of, we do tell the story of all the girls now they're like, oh, that story again. But the ones that always come up are well, let's see. There was the time that Philip put Andrew down in the, in the septic tank. There was that one, and there's a reason for that. Raw sewage was backing up into the house, and we couldn't figure out why. And Rex came in from work, and he's like, "All right, we got to go take the big, huge cover. The cover's almost as big as this room." And they didn't see it at first. Didn't really need to be cleaned out. I'm like, all right, maybe. I think we had it cleaned out. Well, then it happened 2 days later again. They go to take it off again, and this time the terracotta pipe coming from the house had crushed, which was common, turns out, with terracotta pipes, and they don't use those anymore. Yeah. Well, Andrew had been somehow getting candy and that he wasn't supposed to have, and he was shoving the candy wrappers down the toilet so no one would see them, and they had all backed up. And so it was right going into the thing, and they finally were able to see that. And Philip picked him up and was trying to lower him into the septic tank because he was making everyone out there digging through the raw sewage again. And there's that, but he lived to tell about that.
He's fine.
It did usually revolve keeping Andrew alive. Then there was the time they tied the fishing wire between the, have you ever heard when they tied the fishing wire between the tree and the lamppost and dared Andrew to ride his bike through it? And the first time he broke through it, and they said, whoa, and he was like, I did get through it. And then the next time they were like, oh, we'll fix that, and Adam wrapped it again. Well, this time the fishing wire slit his neck like this, and it was superficial, but it didn't really look. And he came in one door this way, and they came in the other door. He wanted us to do it. He wanted us to do it. Like, y'all are gonna have to go to the ER with me to explain to them why the child's neck is slit with the.
I can't show up with the child's neck. Just
There's that, and then there was a time they got into. They were all collecting. Notice that none of these stories have to do with Abby.
Yeah.
You're catching the drift.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got into saving gunpowder from every firework they could find or buy, and they would collect it, and they got into blowing things up. And we were at church one day, and right after the service, the kids would all run up into the woods up behind the field, and this huge explosion rattled the doors, rattled the windows. Everyone comes out of the church to see them running from the woods, and they had just set off a there's that. No one died.
Yeah.
No one died then. Yeah. Like I said, the keeping them alive, that was the
very time consuming.
Just never knew.
Yeah.
You just never knew.
What a fun.
What was going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, no.
Every single day was just.
Yep. Never knew who was going to be blowing something up or taking it apart or.
Yeah.
But my favorite memories are the normal days. Just the normal days that we were together, working around the table. Maybe everybody wasn't yelling at each other about something, but just that day in, day out. Every meal together. All of that, or just the day in, day out of what we, just normal life that sometimes kind of can feel monotonous, that make up these years of layered upon layer of, family relationships and all. And I do love that they love to be together. But like I said, that was not necessarily our parenting. God does what he wants with that. And it didn't, I don't take it for granted. I feel very blessed about that.
It's nice. Last question would be, what's your kind of general advice for all of us younger adults moving up and going into the world, becoming hopefully responsible adults and some
very responsible
parents and families? What would you tell?
I would say, I think, be very intentional in those relationships. Be intentional, if you decide, the Lord blesses you with children, those relationships, you get one shot at it. And, that money's going to go away, and careers, those are important. They're important. You got to be able to live, and work is important. And, we were created to work, but that time with your children, when they're little, you cannot get that back. And make those memories. You're gonna mess it up. You're gonna mess it up. I messed it up. There were nights I went to bed thinking, whew, did I cause more harm today than good? But God redeems all of that, and it's just there are a lot of things I do wish maybe I should have handled this differently. Or you learn things. You learn things first go around with kids that you go back and you think, okay, I know now maybe that wasn't as important. But just being open to have mentors, people that are ahead of you that can you can ask things to, that you can ask honest questions, and just don't rely on what you're seeing on that social media, which we've already beat that horse. But just and make sure, I know for everybody, they don't, have a relationship with Jesus, but it's so important. And I think sometimes you might not realize that until you have children. When you, like we talked about earlier, you just kind of go along and you do your own thing, and then you wake up one morning and you realize, this is this is important.
Yeah.
And that those components are huge, and they need to weave and be ahead of every decision that we make. At least that's how I think about it. That relationship should be number one. So, but thank you for letting me sit here and.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you doing it. I didn't want to hear about the parenting not being perfect, but I was hoping it was just going to be smooth sailing forever and no problems. I guess when the kids in the septic tank, I guess.
Nope.
They just always bring a fun challenge.
Yep. And Philip probably didn't tell you that story, did he?
He didn't. He somehow left that out. I don't know. I don't know why. But,
or Adam setting the backyard on fire with fireworks.
Oh, I've done.
I've done that. Bottle rockets.
Yeah. That's happened. I think that's that's happened.
Teenage boys.
Yeah. I can't say the neck cut by the fishing wire was happened.
No, that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Had a good time.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.